before we do Vivaldi, I'd like to start doing Rossini, the Thieving Magpie.
Okay.
I think it's a good one to start with. Okay, let's do the E major one as well. The next one.
Oh, I have only one. I don't know.
Okay.
I have only this Marcello and then Allegro.
Yeah. Okay. All right, because I just have the two, the second one you play, and it comes later in E major, but that doesn't matter. It's okay. We can work on that first one. Let's now work on. I always think it's very important with Rossini. It's always opera buffa. It's supposed to be charming and funny, and with a beautiful sound. So, maybe we could start first of all just to hear the line. If you could just go. Okay, not bad. Now, Katrīna, do you think you could make it more beautiful, the sound?
I think I can try.
I don't think we can play a duet, can we, at the same time?
We can try.
Let's see. The reason why is I want you to hear your D in comparison to the G. Can you just play your G? Then I would join you, and then you continue playing. Let's see how that works. Play your G. Do you hear me when you play?
Yeah, but I think that
it's two. No, the reason why I wanted to do it has something to do else. The intonation isn't quite correct. And I wanted you just to hear the G. I think we can do this. That we'll manage to do online.
Okay.
I would just play a G, and you hear the D in comparison and correct it if you feel it's not correct. So you just
I have to play just.
And then there, okay? You stay on the D and you hear my G. But let's first of all, I will find your G and then you start playing. Okay. That was it. So very important is when you play this, that you listen to the fifth that you hear. Yeah, those intervals are very important. Good. Now, just one more idea for when you are on your own and practicing. Do you have a tuner which makes notes?
I have, yeah, but not now.
Not here, that's okay. Because my tuner, I'll just demonstrate so you see what I mean. My tuner, I would set my tuner on a G if I just wanted to check my intonation.
Yeah.
So I would, hold on, I'd give it a note. I'm not sure if you can hear this.
I can, yeah.
I'll make it very loud. So. And then I would do it with an A. Yeah? And this is how I would practice it. I would not use I like to use the tuner for the notes it makes, not for the needle. And if I'm not quite sure, I look at the needle. If I'm not sure, do I need to be higher or sharper? But just as a control, because one doesn't always have a piano or for the intonation. Okay, good. Now, for me, that excerpt starts with piano. Does you have a piano there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe more of a piano sound. And now let's make it even more beautiful. Yeah, with a slight crescendo. Dum, bum, 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 bum. And make long legato notes. Ta, 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 ta. Okay. For me, both of them go. The line goes until the last note. Okay, so don't need to articulate it. Now let's add. Okay?
Yep.
Sorry, I'm hearing, but I want to hear. And then careful, the second one, the E is not corrected. That fifth is not good yet. Okay. Sorry, I'm saying a lot, sorry. Now, what I want you to do, when we play again, now we've forgotten a bit, think of the warm air and maybe of supporting a little bit more, or a lot more. Try that again. Very good. Now, do you know what happened when you were supporting more? The intonation was correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Beforehand, you were a bit too flat. Yeah? And do you know why we're often too, or what's the difference between the piccolo and the flute? There's one major big difference.
Oh,
yeah?
Major. Maybe there has to be a more like...
No, the way it is built.
Oh.
The way it is built.
It's smaller.
Yeah, that's true. Now there's one major thing. It's on the flute, it's cylindrical. Yeah. It's the same here as it is here.
Oh yeah, and
on the piccolo, it gets narrower. It's conical, and that influenced the intonation. That's why the intonation is different on the piccolo to the flute, and that's what makes it difficult. Because we flute players, we learn, how long have you been playing the flute? 13 years. So you've been, and not that long the piccolo. So you're used to this flute intonation where, in the middle register one's good. In the upper register, you're usually a bit too sharp, and the bottom register usually a bit too flat. And we correct that. And on the piccolo, usually in the upper register, we are not too sharp. If you listen to recordings in orchestra, often the piccolo players will be too flat in the upper register. Okay, so just so you don't need to press it down. You won't do, but what was more important now is you were supporting really well. So let's do that one more time now, and let's add. Okay, just that far. Very good, but that was very much nicer from the sound than beforehand. Now, before we do the 16th notes, before we add them, can you think of doing more diminuendo? Because that's an easy diminuendo to do. We're just doing the first line at the moment. Good. Now you lost it a bit. You were using pressure and no warm air. You lost a bit of the support. That's okay. That's fully understandable. The diminuendo was great though, okay? One at a time. Now let's try and think of the support again in the warm air, and now add the 16th notes. We just do the first 4 bars.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, that's okay. This is difficult. Now, that's difficult. Let's do this. Let's do Stu. Let's do it a bit slower, just really regularly. To and fro. Good, and also think of your support again. Something. Okay. Just a couple of times. With a diminuendo every time. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to hear. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, 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 da. Important. Don't lose your support at the end. And think of the diminuendo. Maybe do it just a tiny bit slower. Yeah, and always think about the sound quality. Good. And now, a bit quicker. Good. Now let's do in this tempo. We're still a bit slow, but it doesn't matter. Good. Now, Katrīna, try and include this beautiful line we had at the beginning. Much better, much better. Now a little bit quicker. Wow, super. Now let's continue.
In the same tempo?
Yes, yes. Okay. And the next line. Okay, this stresses you a little bit. Now I'm going to do something, I don't know if you'll be able to do it. Have you ever played harmonics?
Harmonics? No.
I'm sure you have on the flute. You know when you play, to play that B, and you finger an E.
Ah, of course, yeah.
Okay, what do you call them in Latvian?
They're sort of flageolets or something like that.
Flageolets, okay. Yeah. So I want you to try and play the second line with flageolets. Flageolet, okay? So everything is 1 octave and a 5th lower. Mm-hmm. Take your time. Just see if you can do this. So it would sound like this. Sorry, wrong notes. Right, and it's not an F sharp. I did the same mistake. It's you have to play a F, so fa.
Ah, of course,
Good, good. Okay, try it again. There's a reason. I'll explain why. It's very, very healthy to do them. And just think, when you play it casually, we can do it with the with the F sharp. Here we go. We play a B, we finger a B. Try that.
The D?
A B.
Okay.
A T is T. Yep. That's right. Won't work if you force the sound. You have to, the airstream you have to raise a bit. So you're going, you have to lift the airstream.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It's okay. Don't stress yourself. Maybe we do it with a la, with an A.
Mm-hmm.
Try it again. So, la.
Yeah.
Do it again on the A until you feel more confident without having to give it lots of extra sound. Ooh. And now B flat. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I know that's the one thing. Okay, let's nonetheless, whatever happens with the F sharp, it doesn't matter. I want you to just one more time try it like you did before and play everything with harmonics. Okay. Okay. Stop. It was very, very good. Now I want you to try it without and see if something's happened. Water, flooding, you need to swallow.
Yeah.
Have you got something with you?
Yeah, I have it in another room.
Go get it. I have time. I'm here.
No, it's okay.
You sure? Okay, because Piccolo flooding.
Yeah, it's water there.
I know, it's normal. You're playing lots.
Yeah.
And now try and play it again with lots and lots of support. Warm air. So, and with beautiful sound. Much, much better. First do this. Well done, okay? Very important. If sometimes, yeah, really important. Sometimes if things get hard and you find you're making little mistakes like you did beforehand, it's always important to do things slower and then to be, oh, good, you know, to be, because if we get so, oh, that's not working, you get too nervous. Okay, now, can we do it a little slower? And can you do just here, it says poco crescendo. Can you do a bit less crescendo? And think, maybe you do it now, just thinking of the sound. Sorry. Don't think of the, don't think of the short notes, just think of playing very lyrically. Good. Think, ta, 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 ta. Okay, not short. Good, and have a bit more fun with it. Make us smile. Ya da dee da 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 dee da dee da dee. Okay, what? Good. Now add the rest. Okay, and very important is when, I know, okay, when you go up, I want you to now forget about the lips and just think, I'm going to support, like, I've never supported in my life, okay? And just don't get too involved, just let it happen. Right? Just support. The lips will do whatever they do. Much better. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Was that easier? Good. Now, Katrīna, I would like to, because I fully understand your lips are tired and we've done a lot of work. I'd like to do some Vivaldi now because it's more in the middle register. Should be okay with your lips.
Yeah.
And also to explain musically a couple of things. Everything we did on this, you can transport, like doing Beethoven. I don't think we'll do Beethoven 9 today because I think it'll be too tiring. But practicing Beethoven 9 with harmonics is good. And all these things you can transport everywhere. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go on to Vivaldi. Have you played this with piano before?
No.
Okay, I might clunk away some chords on the piano just for you to hear. Okay, but let's have a go. Lovely sound, good. I would definitely try and think of it more in 4 than in 12, because the piano is the continuous just going. And if it gets too slow, you're going. I'm not sure if you could hear that, but so think of the piano going. So let's try that. That was beautiful sound. It's getting there. I know you're tired, but you're doing a really good job. Let's have a quick look. Right, I just want to check one thing before we think about it harmonically. Can you think when you're doing bar 3? Can you think when you go up to that high E, think of really supporting very well and think of warm air. And let's see what happens there. Just from there. At the moment, I have the feeling you're like, oh, I've got to reach up to that top E. At least it's slightly flat, but I don't want to say it's flat. I want you to feel it. So can you think of just supporting more when you go up? And then think of going outwards or downwards. And blowing your lips away. Okay. You start off slightly too flat because you're a very good flute player. A flute player would have to go down a bit, yeah? And then you correct it. So you have to play it slightly higher. Let's try it with a flageolet. So you play a low E. You don't lift this finger at all. You just.
Yeah.
You don't need to force so much. You don't need to. It's too much. Have you ever taken a strand of hair like this and gone? Can you do that? Okay, sorry, it's a bit. It looks terrible. Oh, okay. So very good, excellent, great. We look weird together. And now I want you to do the same feeling when you go. As if you're blowing away your hair. And keep going. Good. Good. And now back to normal. See what's happened. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Now the octave was big enough. Okay. Now, do you know in the second bar, do you know what type of chord there is on that second bar? I sent you a score.
Yeah.
Now have a look at that chord. Which notes are there? On the first beat of the second bar.
On those handwritten notes.
No, that's a facsimile, but no, on the score. I sent you it looks like this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have
Yeah?
it. Yeah.
Can you tell me which notes are in the orchestra in the continuo? So we have at the bottom an A.
Yeah.
Can you build up the chord? Then we have a. What else is there in that chord?
E and G.
And yes, and one more is missing. So we have an A, a C, an E, a G, and an H. So, do you know what type of chord that is? In Germany, we call it a non-accord.
Yeah.
I'm going to clunk it on the piano and just listen to this. Now, for our ears, it's like, yeah, and so what? But just think Vivaldi, pureness of sound, yeah, pure chords. It's quite shocking, yeah? So you have this A minor, and then you add, and then sorry, the piano's a bit out of tune. So at that time when Vivaldi was living, that must have been a very big shock, big dissonance for the people listening to this. And Katrīna, I don't know if you know, when Vivaldi was alive, when he was living, nowadays he's famous for all his solo concertos he's written. Yeah, he wrote so many concertos for the girls in his music school. But when he was living in Venice, what was he famous for? Do you know? What type of music?
I don't know.
He was famous for his operas. He was a great opera singer. Yeah. And Cecilia Bartoli a couple of years ago brought out the Vivaldi album, and they're really hard what the singers have to sing. It's very virtuoso and very whoa. It's just like the concertos actually. And I think a lot of people don't know these works because they're not popular because they're so hard to sing. But it's an amazing music, and I think when we play these concertos, especially the solo movements, we really need to think as a singer would do, okay? So always think and also for the quick movements, always think as a singer would sing. How would I sing this, okay? But now here is so we've got the first bar, which is just E minor. And then in the second bar, we have this terrible dissonance. And I think people would have been shocked. We were like, oh, wow. And this we really need to hear. And even if you're playing it on your own, I don't know, do you have a piano at home?
At home, yeah.
Okay, well, maybe because now at the moment Corona and people can't get to pianos and stuff,
Yeah, no.
just sit down with a score and play these chords and realize what sort of dissonance is there, and that you have to show this. So do you want to try this again? And if you're playing like, sorry, breathe badly. So it's like a 1.5 bar. We've got this dissonance, we've got this 9th chord, then we have a 7th, dominant 7th chord, and then it goes back to E minor, and it relaxes again. But you have to keep that tension going. Okay? Let's go right from the beginning again one more time. I'm afraid I'd love to accompany you, but I think the backlog wouldn't work. If you were standing here, I'd play for you on the piano, but it's okay.
So from the beginning, yeah?
From the beginning again. Off we go. Okay, let's try that one more time. Let's try that one more time. Really trust yourself, maybe a tiny bit quicker, because it's a Siciliano, which is a slow dance. So it can be yum, ba-dee, yum, ba-dee, dum. And try and take a very, very deep breath in that first bar. And you should be able to make it until the 3rd bar, okay? A little bit quicker. 1, 2. That wasn't bad. Did you feel it was a bit rushed, but you're getting there, that feeling of thing. Very good. Now, what would be a nice thing actually, if you think, or when do you play this piece with repeats at all, or you've just started learning it?
No, I just started.
Okay. Ideally, we play it with repeats. So you could, with the first bar, you could either go to the 3rd beat, so you could play. Okay, or you could go away from the first bar. Okay, that's for you to think of anything. I would like to continue now in bar 3. And we continue playing. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, think again. Go. One more time. You can do that better. Think again of the support, dark air, and the air stream going up. Good. What I liked is you're doing the hemiola. I'm not sure if you're doing it consciously. That's very good. Now I wanted to ask, what interval is between an E and an A sharp? This one. What's the name of that interval?
I don't know how it calls on English, actually.
It's the same in Latvian. What's in Latvian?
Like something just a little bit bigger than a normal one.
What do you know? Augment, or it's called a tritonus.
Yeah,
tritone. Yeah, exactly. Did you know that tritonus was in the Renaissance period? It was forbidden to write.
Yeah.
A tritonus. Yeah. So even in the Baroque period, a tritonus was still, it was very dramatic. So I think you're allowed to show the drama here. This. It's like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen musically? It's a big question mark. So I think it's very important for you to realize that it's there as an interval. We're so used to, you know, we've heard so many pieces with crazy intervals that we're not used to hearing it from that perspective. But that's important if you can feel that. Very good. I would like to continue. Yes, Katrīna, have you thought of playing what sort of ornamentation you would do here, or have you ever thought about that?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, I think it's a good idea to listen to different players playing this on the recorder, on the piccolo, and to hear what different styles they're very different. And then in a way, try some things out, maybe do a bit of copy and paste. Sorry, I said that. I'm not allowed to officially say that. But, you know, just try things out and then you'll find your own version for yourself. Important is to find the tempo you want to play it with, but think of it as in 4. And I would continue. Let's continue in the second part. From there, okay? Yeah. Excuse me. Okay. Now we're going to do a very good Corona type to practice for you now, okay? Something for good for when one's at home. Because you don't have a pianist now, you don't have somebody who's going to play the rhythm for you, but I think it would be good if you walked with your feet. If you went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Could you just pace with your feet, even though they might look, the people looking at you might think it's strange, but just walk. 1, 2, 3, and then try and play again from that pace.
Yeah. Go on.
Keep going. Yes, keep going. I want you to play the whole movement. Good. So you had a feeling by walking, even though nobody can see it, we could hear it, that you had the pace. Was that strange?
No, it's not.
Okay, it's a very good way. Often, if I find it's even better to walk instead of using a metronome, because a metronome will always be external, but your own body gives you that feeling of pulse, which I think is very good. Now, the reason why I photocopied this facsimile for you was, could you look at the second bar of the facsimile?
Yep.
This is original Vivaldi's handwriting.
Yeah.
Okay. And look at the last bar, Katrīna. Do you see the last bar? Do you see these? He's put these legato phrasing. Yeah. So this is original Vivaldi's handwriting. He didn't write in the whole movement. He did at the beginning, but he's written very little phrasing, legato things, apart from this. So don't breathe. It's not allowed to breathe there, okay? After that G, because it's original Vivaldi, okay? This is a wonderful edition because you can really see how he wrote. I think it also helps musically to understand it. Yeah. Okay. Good. So that's the first thing. Then, so now you had more a feeling of the pulse. Here I'd like you again to think of just blowing outwards, not blowing downwards. The octave was a bit too small again. Do you want to try again from that second half? Okay. Okay. Let's do our harmonic game again. Ah, this is the hard. That's right. You can do it.
No, it's just one.
No. But you did it great. You did it. It came. Very good. Now let's do it again. Yes. Good. Good. I have a quick question. Did you articulate in the second bar? Did you slur it or did you articulate this? You did. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear it very well. Okay, that's very good. Then let's continue. Let's do. Good. Okay. Now from the harmonies, Katrīna, where is the tension in the bar?
Of this bar?
Yes, of this bar. Or tell me what the chords are.
It's E major.
Yes, E major, and then
A minor.
Mine. That's right. So it would be like do you say the dominant?
Yeah.
Dominante tonica? That's right. So it's like the dominant and the tonic. What has more tension?
Dominant.
Yes. So even though from a singer's point of view, because I was saying you should do everything like a singer, the singer would enjoy this. Yeah, that would be really important. But I also need you to enjoy and to feel the tension of this, actually this happiness, it's E major. Okay. One thing in between, just for the just to make you suffer a little bit more, but I think just for the instrument, for the intonation, could you play the this? Can you play it with harmonics? You have to stay with fa. F. That's. Good. Do it a couple of times just to feel comfortable. Good. Now let's go back with the upbeat to that bar. And think of the pulse again. Yep. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Sorry, I'm being very perfectionistic. That was lovely from the movement. Careful, you're being a very good flute player. You're pressing down the E, so it sounds a bit flat. You're going. It's the fifth of that A minor. We did a nice big interval. good. Now I want you to look at, very good, Katrīna. That was much better. Did you hear the difference?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Very good. Now I want you to look at the harmonies in the bar. So we've had the dominant, the tonic. What happens in the next bar?
Dominant of, like, yeah, it's also dominant, but in G.
That's right, G major. And what happens in the next bar? This is now important. So we've had twice tension, release, tension, release. And now in that next bar, it's really important. Does that happen as well here, or what's happening here?
No, it's tonica first.
Yes. And then?
What's that?
It's the same chord we had beforehand. It's that the dominant ninth.
Yeah.
Yeah? Or is it dominant? Hold on. It's from
No,
it's the fourth. It's the fourth, not the dominant, subdominant ninth chord. So we've got that tension again. So here, before we've had tension on the one, release on the half bar, tension on the one, release, and now we don't have tension on the first bar. It just is more relaxed, and the tension comes on the half bar. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to try that? Try the whole stretch from the... Very good. That was lovely. I would personally probably in that bar, there is no slurring in Vivaldi's music, in his facsimile. I would probably slur like the last bar.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's very personal. So that was beautiful. That was very good. Let's continue. Yes. One other thing, it's of course very personal if one does things like how one phrases these things. What I do think is important is whatever you decide to do it very clearly. For the piccolo, it's often so that we think, oh, I'm going to do lots of articulation, so I'm going to go. Did you hear any difference?
Actually, I know that you made a difference, but I didn't hear it.
Thank you. That was what I wanted. That was very good. That's the problem with the piccolo. You have to do extreme. You have to do much more dynamics and much more extreme articulation than on the flute. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what I wanted you to say. Okay. So if we're going to do this, it needs to be more chopped off. Or you could do however you want to do it. But I
didn't hear you. Maybe the connection wasn't so good.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I will. Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
So it's very personal what you decide to do.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna, whatever you're gonna do, even if you do like 2 with a dot, no, it has to be clearer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, just for you to know, Katrīna. But we can do. Let's go, because you did it so beautifully. Let's do the last 2 bars with the upbeat.
Okay.
Okay, and wait.
Yeah.
Sorry. And now I want you to try now to spontaneously do something interesting with that bar, that second to last bar with the articulation. Mm-hmm. Try and do what I just said.
Yeah.
Be brave. It was lovely articulation, very good. It was clear. Now you're a bit, because of the articulation, you stopped the tempo. So let's try and combine it with walking, whichever tempo you'd like to have, walk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I find the tempo is on the slow side. Let's go back to the beginning, just the first bar, and see what is the tempo if you were thinking of doing a slow dance, what tempo would you take? Okay. Do you feel comfortable with that, or is it too fast for you?
No, I feel comfortable, yeah.
Okay, let's just do one more time. I want you to play the first 3 notes, and then I want you to play the second last bar. So, however you're going to do your tempo, and transport it then. Once again, just the first 3 notes. I mean the first 3 beats. I'm sorry. First 3 beats. Sorry.
And now the...
Good. Did you notice beforehand you got so slow? That's what I mean with the tempo. What I want you to do now, one more thing, just to find your tempo, because I'm not sure if it's really stable yet. Excuse me. Is to go. Can you walk just the main beat? So you're going. I find almost, yeah. So we've got, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, you've got this. And now to the last bits. That's very good. Now it feels much more confident with the tempo. Yeah? Very good. This is such a beautiful piece. If you have ever an opportunity to play it with string quartet, or in a church, with the organ player, just offer this, even just the slow movement. I mean, the whole concerto is beautiful, but it's very, very, very special. But I'm going to leave you to. Have you got any questions about it?
I have only one question. I heard someone playing like the last bar. Like the short notes, like a long note.
Yes, definitely.
Better to play a... Or...
I actually do the second version.
Like the
I do it like that person. Yeah.
Oh.
And what I do is I go. It depends. I mean, I do it slightly different, but I do because at the end of the movement, I do sort of, I build something in with, so it does fit. I would never, it depends. It's the relation. The note has always got to be in relation to the next note. So if the E is a long note, then the D sharp can also be a long note. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah? It has to always be in. Like, for example, 100, the first half Yeah?
Yeah.
There you don't necessarily do a ritardando, even if you're doing that was maybe too long. You need to keep it in a pulse going, but it's how it fits. Yeah.
Okay.
Be courageous with the I always like it when a student comes to me and presents me with some whatever they're going to do as ornamentation, and it's sometimes good to be totally crazy and then to get thinner, or to say, okay, when I play this solistically, I want to play this very crazily. If I play it for an audition, I have to be a bit more conservative. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever listened to Giovanni Antonini. He's an amazing recorder player and a conductor. He is the chief. So Giovanni Antonini, his orchestra is the armonico. No. Oh, I'm sure somebody can tell you. Giardino Armonico, I'm sorry. And if you listen to him play this second movement, you sometimes think, is he really playing the same piece? Because he goes so well. And I do think it fits in the Baroque time, because if you think how people were dressed, they were wearing wigs, and it wasn't a very natural time. It was people were, the more ornamentation, the better. And I think you can go wild, at least when you're playing this as in a concert or something.